Right friends, welcome back to Learning Space. This is honest appraisal of Civil Services Prelims 2019 and how the paper is to be evaluated, or you can say what is the difficulty level, what is the ease, all these things we are going to deliberate for next 30 minutes. Please stay on till the end so that you can have comprehensive view of how UPSC is asking various questions, what is the rationale behind it. All those things I would like to explain, and here whatever questions we claim from our modules, they are genuine, and at the same time I will explain where we failed also, because it is honest appraisal. I am producing this video not to take credit but to learn from the mistakes, or you can say course correction, even from the students perspective also, from the Learning Space Digital also. The learning is continuous process. The students who could not write well, please don't get disgusted, right? And my suggestion is learning is a continuous process. And what is the message because of this paper, you will come to know once we finish this. I have taken test series C to explain you various questions. And before going ahead, these 18 points, when you analyze this question paper, first and the foremost is some are simple and straightforward questions. Example, Global Competitiveness Report, then Atal Innovation Mission, Cas9, these are all simple. Then some aspects on basics. For example, I told you number of times in the editorials, in the banking system, loans are assets and deposits are liabilities. Friends, the same question is asked, so that means UPSC expects students to know the basics also. Then the next important aspect is keen observation of current events, especially what is happening in India. And you can come to the conclusion when you look at some 2-3 places where there is issue with regard to water resources, right? Then linking the current events with the past in one single question. So examples, number of examples are there. One classic example is coal auctions was linked with coal nationalization. When it was done, who was the prime minister, right? Then pre-liberalization era is in focus. Friends, normally students expect some questions from post-liberalization era, but this time there are 3-4 questions from pre-liberalization era. One is a question on 5-year plans, second one is with regard to coal nationalization, then service area approach and lead bank scheme. So friends, these 3 pertains to pre-liberalization era, right? Then crystal clear clarity on environmental degradation and climate change. There are some questions where students are expected to know the things with crystal clear clarity, and that is evident in the questions. Some of the questions of this environmental degradation or climate change, right? Then more technicalities and in-depth knowledge in contemporary S&T. For example, augmented reality, virtual reality, wearable technology, RNA interference. These are all talking about the contemporary events in S&T, and students are expected to know much more clearer terms these science and technology related events. That is the message from this paper. Then elimination process is very easy for some questions. For example, the question of office of profit, elimination process, very easy. Similarly, 75 PVTGs, there it is mentioned 95. So through elimination, such questions can be answered very easily. Then economy related events, as usual, around 70% are current based and some of them are application based. For example, currency crisis. Unless you understand the things in a comprehensive way, you cannot answer such type of questions. Then polity questions, almost 40 to 50% are asked based on current happenings. For example, office of profit. For example, removal of the judge. These are into the news. That's why those questions are asked. right? And for medieval India, the emphasis on art and culture, right? So when students are looking at medieval India, please dig them for art and culture. Then application of the knowledge gained is vital for some questions. This is very, very important point. In economy and in other domains also, some questions are there where application of the knowledge is very important, right? And at the same time, few questions will be based on facts which tests the remembrance power of the student. What are the examples? 95 PVTGs, then Crich visits, it is given 6. So friends, these are basically to test the remembrance power. Then comprehensive knowledge about the acts, whether they are recent acts, old acts. Some of the important acts should be on the fingertips of the students. This is the message. Friends, when one looks at acts, there is combination of recent acts and the old important acts like Environmental Protection Act, Forest Rights Act, and these are the hot topics for UPSC. Then equal emphasis for static and dynamic aspects. This paper is balanced between static and dynamic. Some of the dynamic aspects are linked with the static aspects. Example is coal nationalization. Like that, there are number of questions which are linked with some static concepts. Then concentrate equally on important and unimportant news events. When you look at S&T, people expected questions on Mission Shakti, Chandrayaan 2, but S&T portion gone towards wearable technology, augmented reality, virtual reality, and all those things, right? So friends, concentrate equally on important things, unimportant things. Then solve both application based MCQs and fact based MCQs. The important message is students are bent upon solving several MCQs through the test series, but what is important is most of the times they miss application based MCQs, right? And accuracy with minimum negative marks is the key for success, right? So friends, what exactly this indicates, or you can say, what is the lesson from this paper? The lesson from this paper is in 3 words. What is important for UPSC is continuous and comprehensive learning. Very, very important. Friends, those whoever are following editorial discussions for the past 2 years, they benefited immensely. Why? Because in the editorial discussions, the things are repeated a number of times. Not only that, in the editorial analysis, we link number of events. Because of that, that gets imprint in your mind. And normally the losers are at the last minute who watch with 2x. That means when you are following regularly for the past 2 years, if you watch with 2x or 1.5x, there is nothing wrong. But some of the students during the last 2-3 months, they only watch the modules at faster speed, and there they miss application based questions. So final message, read the static portion carefully. After that, give emphasis on more and more MCQs from the static portion. Very important. Read the static portion carefully. Later on, give emphasis on solving more and more number of MCQs. And when you look at the dynamic portion, it is continuous comprehensive learning. There are no shortcuts here. You should have crystal clear clarity on various issues. And when some of the questions are asked, there is reason behind it, right? Here, vegetable oils question is asked because it is into the news number of times, because India is dependent on the import of vegetable oils primarily. Similarly, we discussed about glut in the sugarcane production. If you know that simple statement, you can answer that question, which is in fact related to this sugarcane and other crops. So friends, continuous learning, most important. right? So final suggestion is static subjects like geography, polity, all those subjects, read carefully. After that, regularly, don't wait for the exam, regularly solve MCQs, standard MCQs, right? That is the message as far as static is concerned. As far as dynamic aspects are concerned, please follow current events regularly. Don't wait till the end. It is a continuous and comprehensive learning as far as current events are concerned. And you cannot separate preparation for prelims, mains, interview. It is a unique preparation for all, right? That is the message thrown once again by this paper. So you can see some of the questions are very easy. Some of the questions are from the basics. Some of the questions are dynamic linked with the static. Some of the questions are application based. Some of the SNT questions are tough. Some of the ecology questions are also tough, especially with regard to the release of various gases like methane, reactive nitrogen. Probably most of the students may go wrong. And if you analyze all these things here, the cutoff may be somewhere around 100. It is my personal viewpoint. The cutoff may be somewhere around 100, right? So friends, here let me tell you from now onwards, I have taken from dynamic aspects as well as from the static aspects whatever we taught, and I have taken the timings of the video clip also. Please stay on till the end, because I would like to tell you here how learning space benefited you, right? Those whoever are watching editorials for the past 1.5 years to 2 years, they benefited a lot. Friends, from 10th June, we are going to do much more with much more crystal clear clarity to the students, right? Learn in proper way dynamic aspects. And for static aspects, I already advised you, right? After learning the static aspects, please solve more and more standard MCQs. For the dynamic portion, there is no shortcut. It is continuous and comprehensive learning, right friends? From now onwards, right from 1 to 100, I would like to tell you briefly which is the contribution of learning space. There is a huge contribution from learning space as far as this paper is concerned, right? And I have taken static as well as dynamic, because in static also we produced number of videos till now, right? And wherever we went wrong, I would like to explain you so that you will be careful next time. First question on augmented reality and virtual reality. Here we touched superficially, hence students may find it difficult to answer. Friends, augmented reality, virtual reality, in our lectures it was covered, but not up to the extent which you can answer the question, right? So therefore, latest, or you can say contemporary science and technology events, climate change issues, environmental degradation, let us keep more watch on these things. And not only the students, Learning Space Digital also learned a message in these aspects, right? Then second one, somehow this is missed from our lectures. It could have been covered, but somehow we could not cover this. And here, this is with regard to this DNA, we have not covered this. As I have already told you, science and technology, in fact, has gone much deeper in this paper, right? And this is with regard to digital signature. We covered in one of our lectures, but probably students may find it difficult to answer with our lectures. Then the next one is, this is with regard to wearable technology. We have not covered this. And next one, this is RNA interference. And this we have not expected. Such type of question is asked in the examination. So friends, these questions pertaining to science and technology, right? And somehow the emphasis in future should be on such type of things, right friends? This is with regard to black holes and gravitational waves. This in the editorial I covered 3-4 times. and in the revision module also it is covered, very simple question, straightforward question. And to make students confuse, here singularity is also given. But friends, singularity is the term which is used with regard to the formation of one black hole, but this is merger of the black holes, right? So this is the slide which we taught. Then this is with regard to multi-drug resistance. Friends, I covered a number of times this in the editorial, and most of the times I concentrated on 2 and 3. And if anyone listens carefully, then through application they can come to the conclusion 4 is also correct. But some of the students may go wrong, because I have not indicated this in many of the lectures, but you can infer that. That is basically application, right? And we covered this in the editorial as recent as May also. And CAS 9 straightforward question, and we covered it in several lectures during the past 1 year, right? Even in the revision also we covered it clearly. And this we have not covered. This is with regard to hepatitis and HIV, the question. Probably through our lectures it may be difficult to answer this. Friends, this pertains to polity, and we have not covered this syllabus till now. And this pertains to this purchasing power parity, and this straight away it was covered even in the revision module also. Just look at this slide. I explained in crystal clear terms on PPP terms. India is number 3. What is PPP? Most of the times in the editorial I explained by taking a cup of coffee. Cup of coffee costs ₹20 in India, $1 in USA, like that we explained. And here it is covered in the revision module also. Friends, this is with regard to here elimination process, very easy. Here you see area under sugarcane cultivation has steadily decreased, the statement. Friends, this not only I covered in the revision modules, but in the editorial sugar crisis we covered 2-3 times. Friends, through the elimination process you can easily answer this question, right? And this I covered as MCQ in the mock test also, right? And here I explained sugar crisis in the brainstorming also, right friends? So this issue can easily be answered if someone is following attentively. Friends, this vegetable oils we covered number of times in the editorial. In fact, in the revision series also we covered, and this slide I have shown you 2-3 times in the editorials as well as in the revision also. Friends, through this you can come to the conclusion this vegetable oil, I explained specifically this aspect. And here you see coal, and one question is there on coal, right? And by explaining various groups we told you in crystal clear terms, right? This is about the liberty, definition of liberty. In fact, in the polity lectures Binu Krishna madam covered. Here you see absence of restraint. This is the slide taken from polity lectures. Here the question is with regard to liberty, and Binu Krishna madam straight away covered this absence of restraint, right? And the next one, this in fact with regard to the likely measure to stop the slide of the Indian rupee. With regard to the Indian rupee, what are the long-term measures required, what are the short-term measures required? In the editorial discussion we had discussion for number of sessions. And friends, for answering such type of application based questions, what is important is you should have clarity about what is going on and what will happen because of what, right? So the right answer is expansionary monetary policy. What happens because of expansionary monetary policy? This is not at all related with the measure which government will take to stop slide of the Indian rupee, right? So here what happens, expansionary monetary policy, I explained a number of times. I am not taking much time here because of paucity of time, I am skipping. And friends, this is Reserve Bank of India's order to store data locally. I explained in this 71st module. You can straight away answer this question. Right, at present only mandatory rule is Reserve Bank of India for the payment systems. Right, I explained about data mirroring also, and at no point of time we talked about the public sector enterprises. So straight away 2 cannot be the answer, right? So 1 only, right friends? Next one, this is with regard to the GDPR. We discussed number of times, European Union. In fact, this is part of revision module 34 also, right? And then this somehow we missed. This is part of the current affairs. In fact, around 7-8 months ago, this was in fact signed with Russia. We discussed in the editorial, but without taking this name. In general terms, we discussed in the editorial, right? And if you see, this is money multiplier. I explained in the editorial what will happen when CRR is increased, what will happen when SLR is increased. If you understand that, probably you can answer this question straight away, right? And the next one, AIIB, this came up in the editorial discussions number of times. It is a straightforward question, and China is the largest shareholder, and Madam also discussed in the recent modules in organizations with regard to AIIB. This came up number of times in the editorials, right? And then this is intercreditor agreement. This was told straight away in the revision module number 53, right? This is the answer, right? So this is 50 crore, and we talked about consortium lending also, and the same was given here, consortium lending 50 crore rupees, right? And if you look at the next question, chairman of the public sector banks board bureau, straightforward question, and editorial discussion number of times it came up, and this question we could not cover. Then LTE, friends, in the mock test I asked one question. This is about millimeter wave spectrum, that is for 5G, and this LTE is for 4G. I explained clearly here, right? And just look at the next one. This is with regard to the Maternity Benefit Act. Friends, this was covered in the revision module, and it is clearly mentioned 4 crèche visits. And here it is mentioned 8 weeks for pre-delivery and out of the 26 weeks. Friends, these are the slides we have taken from the revision modules. Most of the things of current affairs are covered in the revision modules also, in addition to the editorial discussions. Let us go fast. This is ease of doing business index. 3-4 times we covered in the editorial discussion as well as in the revision module, and you might have seen this slide, right? So it is very easy to answer if one follows either revision modules or the modules of the revision, right? And here we could not cover this question, right? You see, this question is asked going back to this e-waste management and handling rules 2011, right? Such type of questions, in fact, through elimination process can be answered, right? And here this we have not taught. Then this is with regard to social capital in the editorial, human capital, social capital, intellectual capital, physical infrastructure. All these terms were explained with the pictures, right? This is service area approach. This was also explained in the editorials. This is a lead bank scheme. In fact, what is the chronological sequence of banking system, we explained in the editorial discussion, and this we have not taught clearly, right? And if you look at this external debt, covered 3-4 times in the editorials, and at the same time in the revision module also, straight away 2 points are there in this slide. Whatever is asked in this question, straight away 2 points are there, and those whoever are watching the editorials, it will be cakewalk for such type of questions. Friends, this was in fact discussed number of times in the editorial discussion. It is the basic question. And I told you number of times, loans are assets in the banking system and deposits are liabilities, right? This one in several editorial discussions we covered. This remittances from abroad, then this foreign currency earnings of IT sector, I told you number of times. In the services sector, thanks to Indian software sector, we are surplus, right? So these are some sort of application based. And about the remittances I covered in the revision modules also. Friends, this we have not covered, and this is with regard to participatory note, straight away covered in the revision module number 60. This is the slide which we have taken. And the next one, this is about CAMPA. This was covered in the revision modules also, module number 68. Editorial discussion we covered number of times, national level, state level. Not only that, I told you clearly, it is consultation with Gram Sabha in the tribal areas, right, to ensure that the rights of the tribal population are protected. It is mentioned consultation, and here in the question it is mentioned mandatory, right? So friends, please listen to the modules carefully. And then this we have not covered, and this we have not covered, and this is very clear in the revision module, module number 20. In the slide itself, it is mentioned 75 identified PVTGs, and this question is asked to test the remembrance power. Previously, one more question that is pertaining to Maternity Benefit Act, that was also asked to test the remembrance power. 2-3 questions are asked in UPSC to test the remembrance power of the student, right? So friends, if you eliminate this, straight away you can get the answer. If you eliminate 3, so through elimination process this becomes very, very easy, right friends? This article 142, in fact, complete justice, students can in fact recollect my voice also. It came up number of times in the editorial, right? And here in the editorial in September also it was discussed, right? So here article 142, extraordinary powers, complete justice, right? This we have not taught, and this we have not taught, and this we taught but it is not clear, right? So such type of things we have to improve in future. Straight away I am admitting, wherever we failed, wherever we are successful, similar type of honest appraisal is to be done by the students, right? And here this is, we have not done this. Then this is, in fact, here the first point I taught clearly. Here you see, as per Indian Patents Act, a biological process cannot be patented. I told you recently in the revision module also it came, module number 47, but here this is second one I have not taught, right? And if you go further, this is Environmental Protection Act, we have not taught clearly. Solid waste management rules, friends, in this revision we have not covered, but whoever are following editorials, they can answer this through elimination process. This is very clear. This came up in the brainstorming of current events. At the same time, several editorial discussions, we covered this fixed term employment. No notice of termination is required, right? And this question was also asked in the brainstorming, and another question about fixed term employment in the brainstorming, and this was also explained. And this is with regard to the environment. Here agriculture soils release nitrogen oxides. All three are correct, but some students may find it difficult to apply, or you can say through application it may become difficult, right? Though it was taught at different periods of time, some of the students may find it difficult to answer this question. Let me admit straight away, right? And here this we missed badly. Here you see what is common to these three places. It is with regard to water reservoirs. They are into the news, Aliyar, Isapur, but somehow in current affairs we missed this, and this throws a message. We should look for even small things also which are important from UPSC perspective, right? And this we have not covered clearly. Then the next one is, this is in fact in the climatology module. This is static question, and in the modules of geography produced by Binu Krishna madam, straight away this was mentioned, right? So you can look for these statements, right? And of course this is static, and this we have not taught because we are yet to complete polity. And this one is from several editorial discussions. Friends, 3-4 times we discussed how to remove a judge, right? And there we explained elaborately. It was discussed at least 3 times in the editorials, but I have not taken this in the revision module. And friends, office of profit, removal of the judge, these are discussed threadbare in the editorials, right? And this one, Indian polity lectures, madam taught clearly, right? And the next one, this is about coal sector. Friends, here the important aspect is, see the third statement. If you are able to eliminate third statement, because through elimination such type of questions can be answered easily. Just have a glance at it. This slide I explained 3-4 times. Friends, 2 questions were asked from this slide with regard to India's exports. One we have seen vegetable oil. Second is with regard to coal. Students should have clarity about what are the exports, what are the imports, right? And if you eliminate third statement, very, very easy, right? So let us move on. This is with regard to office of profit. And in the editorial discussions, it was told number of times, office of profit is not defined in the Constitution of India. Similarly, in the madam's MCQs also it was asked. Friends, it was deliberated in detail. If you eliminate 3, answer is straight away A. Friends, through elimination process, some questions can be easily solved, right? And this was clearly explained in the polity lectures by madam, right? And here if you see the next one, this was not taught because we are yet to complete polity. And this is with regard to this Himalayan nettle. Somehow we missed this, and let me tell you, in future we would like to take care of such type of minor aspects, or you can say this was not in the news in recent times, but this question was asked. Similarly, water reservoirs were asked. They were not big water reservoirs, very, very small, but still they are asked. Friends, then this one we have not taught clearly, right? And this also we have not taught. We concentrated on northeastern part of the country as far as forest cover is concerned, but the question is with regard to these states, right? And this one we taught up to some extent, but it is not clear to the student to answer the question. Friends, this also we have not taught, and for such type of questions we would like to take care in future to be cautious and go ahead. Friends, whoever are following learning space lectures, it is very easy to answer this question. In fact, in the revision modules itself, we discussed the boundaries of Caspian Sea, Black Sea, right, Adriatic Sea, and these maps you are watching day in and day out. It's very easy for you to answer. This we missed. Friends, we talked about rice, basmati rice as far as India's exports are concerned, but somehow I missed the point to explain you that India is the largest exporter of rice, right? And such type of things we will be cautious in future, and this pertains to geography we have not taught. And this is pesticide. Several times it came up in the editorials, that is parathion. And not only that, madam also taught with regard to banning the pesticides. Here it came parathion. Profenophos, all these things, right? And this is with regard to Ramsar Convention we taught, but it is not clear from our lectures. Friends, this we could not teach. And this one we taught. Asiatic line came into picture because of some diseases, very clear. And one-horned rhinoceros. Here you see, here with regard to one-horned rhinoceros, I discussed in one of the lectures, in fact this was kept in the revision module also. Here the Chitwan National Park in Nepal, it is the world's second stronghold for greater one-horned rhinoceros, right? And the population is showing a comeback. In this context, we discussed 2-3 times about this Chitwan National Park in Nepal, right? And similarly, Madam also explained in her lectures, right? And this one we have not taught, but little bit of application when I was teaching with regard to the transfer of Mahadayi river waters. I talked about Malaprabha, that is nearer to the Maharashtra border. There we talked about Malaprabha river basin. So this Hampi cannot be answered. Most of you are familiar with Hampi. It is Tungabhadra, right? So elimination process, you can answer such type of questions, though they are not direct. Friends, through the editorials, you can easily answer this question. I need not explain anything. And here, this one, straight away we discussed in the revision module, module number 24, and climatology module number 4. This was discussed straight away for reducing the global warming. This is injection of sulfate aerosol into stratosphere. Please look into this. Stratospheric aerosol injection. This was straight away taught in the lectures. And Binu Krishna Madam also taught in climatology, right? So for UPSC, don't take anything lightly. Friends, this is 76th question. Amrita Madam taught very clearly this pyrolysis, plasma gasification, waste to energy technologies, right? And this is the recent module of last minute revision. And if you look for this pyrolysis, just have a glance at it. This is pyrolysis, this is gasification, right? These words straight away appear in this waste to energy technologies, right? And Agasthyamala Biosphere Reserve. Right, friends, I told you number of times, Agasthyar Kodam and Neyyar, these are into the news because of removing the ban on women for scaling the mountain, right? So you can easily answer this question, right? So friends, certain leads will come if you follow all the lectures attentively. This is Agasthyar Kodam. We discussed number of times, even it is there in the revision module also. Right, and let us move on. This is, in fact, you can easily answer, but we have not taught this. And here, this, if you eliminate this Irrawaddy dolphin, right, you can easily eliminate, because I told in one of the modules Sundarban it is. In fact, here when we are discussing about Sundarban, I talked about this Irrawaddy dolphin. Similarly, Amrita Madam talked about this Irrawaddy dolphin, right? And she clearly told it is spotted in Chilika Lake, Bhitarkanika, Gahir Mata sanctuaries. So please watch all the modules, right? And microbeads, anyone watching the editorials, they will be very clear about the lecture about microbeads. I told you 4-5 times, and this picture is familiar to most of you. And the same question is asked in the examination, right? And Kalyana Mantapas. Friends, some of the questions from medieval India pertains to the art and culture portion. And Binu Krishna Madam dealt crystal clear way. And friends, the answer here is Vijayanagara. Just have a glance at it. This is about Vijayanagara, and this is a central Mandapa, Kalyana Mandap, right? It is very clearly mentioned in the lecture. Then this we have not taught clearly. Then if you see this, this is clearly evident from the lectures mentioned here. This is about one module of art and culture revision current affairs by Pinu Krishna madam, and religion and philosophy. This is art and culture. So art and culture question, this can be answered easily, right? So just have a glance at what madam taught, right? And the next question, this we have not taught, and here this we have not taught. Here this was taught in art and culture, that is Indian music module 1. Just have a glance at it. By reading this slide, you will come to the conclusion that Binu Krishna madam taught this clearly. So what I mean to say is, in medieval India, some of the questions are from art and culture. This please don't forget. Then here Mughal emperors. Here this is also taught clearly in art and culture. Friends, please watch art and culture modules clearly, otherwise you may forget. And madam told clearly, it is clearly evident from this slide. Then this, of course, under various circumstances, I taught this as Valley of Flowers National Park, but students may not recollect this. And here Atal Innovation Mission, simple, all of you are well aware. It is in fact covered in revision modules also. This we have covered straight away in the geography module, right? And does not set below the horizon at the Arctic Circle, right? So sun never sets at the Arctic Circle, straightforward statement. And then this is in fact we have not covered. Then this also we have not covered, and this is very clear, we covered at number of locations. World Economic Forum is the answer, right? And the next one, this we have covered in the Indian Polity Lectures, module number 3, right? It is clear from this, and just have a glance at it. It is covered in Modern Indian History, module number 27, right? And just have a glance at this slide. And this is of course covered in the history modules, right? Please watch all the modules. When you look at static also, we completed majority of the static modules, right? And this we have not taught, and this also we have not taught. And if you look at this, this is taught in the art and culture. Friends, there are number of questions from art and culture taught by Binu Krishna madam, right? So art and culture is very important. Students are talking about medieval India, but most of the questions from medieval India are from art and culture. So friends, we have not taught this, and this is the honest appraisal of what we explained and what we could not explain, where we missed, where improvement is required. All these things are explained threadbare, and we will make necessary course correction as far as learning space digital is concerned. And I already told you at the beginning what needs to be done, how to go ahead. So please follow, right? Whoever missed this prelims by a narrow score, please concentrate for next year. Don't lose self-confidence, because any failure is the stepping stone for success. And those who are becoming successful in the prelims, please concentrate on mains, right? We will also do something for mains this year, 2019, right? And the simple message from this exam is, there is no shortcut method. Continuous and comprehensive learning, that is the need of the hour, right friends? Thank you once again. All the best to each one of you. Thank you.